All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CEA live stream. We're going to be joined just in a couple minutes by Travis from Child's Play. But before we kick it off, just kind of, give you an overview of what the CEA is, where we're at in the season, the usual for the CEA. First of all, I'm Josh. I'm Juice. I am whatever you want to call me. I have had some experience playing in the CEA before, and now I'm helping to run some stuff for the CEA. So I'm a little bit on the back end, kind of setting up tournaments and things like that.
And just doing an amazing job. And hi, everyone. I am Brad, and I run things over at the Corporate Esports Association. If you're unfamiliar with the Corporate Esports Association, who we are, what we do, we get companies from around the country to play video games against each other. They find their corporate rivals and play things out on a virtual battleground. If you've ever wanted to see Walmart versus Amazon take place in Summoner's Rift, we can make that happen. So welcome to the stream, everyone, and we have a really exciting show for you today. But before we start it, this is week 2 of the CEA regular season. Juice, have you been keeping up with any of the matches? Anything exciting to you so far?
I haven't been keeping up too much. I've been paying just a little bit of attention to Rocket League. I've been seeing some pretty good matchups, but nothing I need to call out.
Yeah, what's been really interesting to me so far has been the StarCraft 2 tournament and the Valorant tournament. Seeing teams that are very new to the league doing as well as they are and kind of outperforming expectations has been just kind of demonstrating, I think, the power of practicing together as a team has been really cool. And we can call out specific teams, but this is not the stream for that because today we have a very, very special guest. And you want to tell us about him?
Yeah, so we've got Travis Erickson from Child's Play. He helps run a whole bunch of the things around Child's Play. Getting the donations and a lot of the events. He can tell you more about that when he comes in. He's been there for about 4 years. He's currently the executive director. I know him myself from doing tournaments at the Penny Arcade Expo conventions, PAX, but he has done far more than just the PAX conventions. So Travis, if we can get you in here, I'll let you do the rest of your introduction yourself.
Welcome to the stream, Travis. Glad to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here, excited to talk about Child's Play, and just want to thank you guys for all the support that you guys have helped coordinate for Child's Play.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so great to have you around. I mean, you are definitely, your organization, I should say, is definitely one of, if not the most supported charity within the Corporate Esports Association. So as we, highlight this series of kicking off and highlighting the amazing organizations that CEA benefits, we wanted to start with you because we know you have just an amazing story to share with us. So can you tell us a little bit more about, who you are and what you do with Child's Play and what Child's Play is all about?
Yeah, I'll do me quick. I've been with Child's Play for 5 years. Before that, I came in this roundabout method of being I was a middle school math teacher and career and tech ed teacher. So still in there, but involved with PAX and things like that. So knew the crew, and when this position opened up, they reached out to me and kind of said, "Hey, we think you'd be the right person to come step in with this. What do you think?" And initially, my thought was, I'm a teacher, but hey, 1 year might be kind of a cool thing to bring back to the classroom, especially like my career in tech ed classes with some experience. And 4 years later now, and looking at online teaching and all that stuff that's happening right now, I am really happy. I
I'm,
really enjoy what I'm doing at Child's Play, and have had a great time.
I'm sure you're glad you missed the particular epidemic. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife she's a kindergarten teacher, and it is a lot of work in the normal times, and right now it's definitely way more. So I am happy to be here. We're doing a lot of work at Child's Play, but it is nowhere near that stressful. Child's Play itself, for people who don't know about us, we've been around since 2003. Child's Play started as pretty much a spite stunt by Mike and Jerry, or Gabe and Tycho of Penny Arcade. Back in 2003 was one of those times that games were in the news as being bad and being murder
Right.
simulators, and they looked at it and they looked at their fans and they looked at themselves and they said, that's not us. That doesn't represent us or our fans, I don't think. Let's just try and put one good news story out there, and see if that'll get any traction. And so they made an Amazon wish list and created it for Seattle Children's Hospital, the local children's hospital where they were at. And 2 weeks later, and a little over $250,000 worth of toys, they huge delivery to Seattle Children's, and then kind of looked at themselves and went, "Well, this was a stunt, but the community really rose to the occasion." and we need to keep this going. And since then, Child's Play has expanded. Now at this point, we partner with over 180 children's hospitals all across the world, and we're nearing 200 domestic violence shelters that we also support. So we've got pretty big coverage and some really big impact thanks to the gamer community over the past 17 years.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that's wonderful to hear, and it's so cool to hear like how Child's Play got going. I actually did not know about that backstory. That's really cool. So it was kind of just a like something like a good-hearted like is there a word for a positive prank or something like that?
I
Like
like I said, I always say spite. I mean, it was the like, fine, you think gamers don't do anything? No. Hey, look, maybe we'll deliver some toys. And what started as that stunt turned into like, oh my god, we need to rent a storage unit. We don't have enough space for these toys. Oh, we got to get a moving van to deliver them. Oh, we like it filled the, there are pictures you can hunt around online. The pool at Seattle Children's just drained, but filled with all of these stacked boxes of
yeah.
toys.
That's awesome. So Child's Play themselves, you said you support like 120 hospitals, a couple hundred domestic violence shelters. Uh, what do you do with that support?
180 hospitals,
Sorry.
but that's okay. So Child's Play started getting games and technology into the hospitals, getting Game Boys and Xboxes and Game Cubes and things like that. Right, it started way back in the GameCube days, um, and getting those systems into the hospital, and we did that for a really long time. And starting about 2015, we started actually doing visits to the partner hospitals. It had been kind of this passive, passive group that was getting the technology, getting iPads or whatever was there. But we started doing hospital visits and learned a couple things. One is games are way more prevalent now. Game systems are way more prevalent now than they were back in 2003. In 2003, they might maybe have one in a playroom, but that was it. Now there are hospitals that have consoles in every single room available. There are hospitals that have lots of places have multiple consoles on carts so that they can be brought in if they don't have it in every single room, but so that they are available. But the child life department, which is who Child's Play's real focus on support is, didn't have the skills or the knowledge to maintain these and be intentional when they were picking the games that they were giving kids. So what we really saw was, okay, this initial hole that we had been filling, which was getting the technology and getting the toys, that's not fully taken care of, but that's much more taken care of. It's something that we will, we still send out gifts and things like that. But one of the things that we really can do is fill this hole in helping them understand how to use games intentionally, and also just being this resource for when they, when you go visit a hospital and they say all our Xboxes are broken, and we find out what happened is the controller in room 2 got put in room 5, and the controller in room 5 is in room 7, and they're all over the place, and when you hit the button it work, and they don't know how to sync them, we can be that resource hub to help talk them through. This is how you connect an Xbox controller, um, and have that base of knowledge. And then one of the things that we did. Oh, I just dropped my dropped my drop. Um, is we worked with EDAR to put together a therapeutic video game guide. And the game guide looks at 6 different symptoms that kids are dealing with in the hospital. So things like pain or anxiety, sadness. And we also break down for them the difference between like short and long term. So waiting room and like a extended stay. And help break down those components so that the caretakers in the hospitals, the child life, can be intentional about, let's put Peggle in a waiting room, let's put Final Fantasy in the
Sure.
available long term
Yep.
wait. But also, when you think of the components that make a game really great on pain, are these components that, like, this cognitive overload, right? It's timers, it's lights, it's music, it's action. There's like goals that you got to go get and go do and like compete. Um, And games that can help reduce your anxiety have all kind of the opposite. Lots of
Yep.
sandbox stuff, no timers, explore at your own leisure, calm music, cooler colors, all that sort of piece. And if you have a kid who's really anxious about, an upcoming procedure, a surgery, a blood draw, whatever it might be, and you give them this game that can really work with pain, you can really amp that kid up and increase that anxiety unintentionally when you think, I'm just giving them a game. Here, that'll help
Right.
them.
Yep.
And same thing with a kid who is in pain. If you give them that anxiety reducing game, that kind of calm chill game, it doesn't give that overload and it doesn't help distract their brain. So that was one of the first pieces that we did, was put that guide together and start working to help communicate to the child life staff that that process of being intentional with games, so that when they're giving them to a kid, they can be more targeted and not just, here, you're a distraction, play a game. And also give them some talking points, because a lot of, most kids mostly know just AAA title games. Those are great for pain, right? They're super good. Your Rocket Leagues, your Fortnites, whatever, those are all outstanding for that. The less AAA title games, they're not going to ask for. So it helps them have a list of games and say, here, let's try these. Um, so that was one of our big moves in becoming this education hub. And the other thing that we saw was, if you've never been in a children's hospital before and you've never worked with child life, they are the distinct difference between a children's hospital and adult hospital. Both have a doctor that diagnoses you and tells you, this is what you have, and a nurse who treats you. But in a children's hospital, the child life staff is there to educate kids at an age appropriate level. What does this cancer diagnosis mean? What is a blood draw? What is an MRI? Like, what are all these things that are going to happen to you? And also there to help just normalize life, keep them on track for school, keep them feeling like a kid. So providing opportunities for play and age appropriate play. And so I always sort of liken them to your favorite third grade teacher who just loves kids, wants to take care of them. But if you gave them a VR kit and said, think about how cool this would be, you could put your kids in VR and take them just with Google Earth, nothing fancy, but take them to the Grand Canyon, take them to the Eiffel Tower, take them to the Statue of Liberty, like just all over with just Google Earth. They'd be so excited. And then you'd come back later and it'd still be in the corner because they wouldn't know what to do with it. So it's just got stuff stacked on it.
Yep.
Same kind of thing for child life. They want to be able to use these tools, but they don't have that knowledge. And so we've now, in the past 4 years, been funding positions inside hospitals that are, for lack of a better term, we call them pediatric gaming and technology specialists. They're all slightly different titled because every hospital has its own name. Um, but they are there playing games, bedside with kids, making that connection. Um, Keeping Xboxes connected and all the games updated and everything there, but they're also working side by side with doctors and physical therapists and all those things, and figuring out how they can um, bring technology like VR and AR in to reduce the need for medication. Working with companies to create VR simulations so that kids can go through practices in virtual reality instead of needing to book like an MRI room or things like that. They can practice it. And so these gaming and technology specialists have been pushing the boundaries of how technology is being used inside the hospital and really having a huge impact in there. And to date, we've funded 20 positions. I think all of our positions this year, unfortunately, with COVID, we are not quite in the stages of hiring. Most hospitals have put hiring freezes on, but are really chomping at the bit for, like, as soon as we get the green light on this, we're ready to put these positions up and get going on.
That's amazing. Um, so that's all happened in the last 4 years. You spun up all these positions literally in the last 4 years, right?
Pretty much, yeah, yeah.
That's
Uh,
just simply amazing.
yeah,
Um,
it's been cool to be on this sort of cutting edge of creating an entirely new profession inside a
yeah.
children's hospital.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead, Brad.
No, I was just going to say, I think that all sounds amazing. I mean, everything you've described here has been, I mean, when I think about what impact that must have on a kid who is, for the most part, especially during the COVID time, is probably scared and alone, who and more than that, bored and has something to do. I mean, it seems so important. So I thought, maybe we could hit it between the eyes. Tell us, why is the mission of Child's Play compared to other organizations so critical?
I think the big piece is, and COVID really has seen this. A lot of people now have been stuck at home. You've seen the huge spike of people playing games and doing all of these things and setting up, Zoom calls and Zoom brunches with their friends and all that kind of stuff. Um, because we're all feeling what that isolation feels like. And this is just a slice of what, those kids who are in the hospital for a long term can really feel. And how much like how good that feels to even like we're at our Zoom brunch and this is great and I feel just a little bit better because I get to see you. um that same impact can be, just life changing for kids. And one of the things that like our gaming and technology specialists have been doing is working on getting past some of that red tape inside hospitals to allow kids to do things like sign in with their own Xbox account or get enough bandwidth on the internet so that they can connect and play games on the PlayStation with friends or chat through FaceTime with their family who can't come in. Um, just because there's not always an advocate for that or
Mhm. Oh, did we
Oh
did
no,
we lose
I'm
Travis?
afraid we might have lost Travis.
Oh no, he was doing so well. Okay, well,
the groups, right?
oh, he's in and out.
Let me come back in.
Nope. Do we might have him.
Video,
Travis, say
video, it
something.
looks good. Am I here? Can you hear me?
I can hear
Welcome
you.
back, Travis.
Hey, all
I
right.
we're good. We're good.
It was a quick in and out of the channel. Now I'm back.
Okay, glad to
Um,
have you.
but yeah, so when you think about, you think about just having someone who can advocate for all of that stuff is really what the gaming and technology specialists have been able to do.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And forgive me if this is maybe a little insensitive, but some hospital stays for kids can be very long. They probably do this for a while. Do you see kids that get like really good at these games? Like
Oh
despite
yeah.
everything, are they killing it?
Yeah, and our game techs really like they say we have a Slack channel where we keep them and get them all together. We do some weekly calls with them, and we see them. We missed them this time. PAX West not happening in person. PAX West is generally the one that they all come out to, and we get a chance to really get together. Um, and they always talk about how like, man, we can't go easy on these kids when we're playing. Like they know one, they know, and they kind of get insulted. Like, dude, just like play
Yep.
against me. Let me actually like have some challenge here. Um, and two,
Bring
some
me
of them are
opponents.
yeah, some of them are so good. You gotta get going on it. So you gotta really step up the game.
Yeah, that's
Well, that's
huge.
awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
so
so
go ahead, Josh.
so just looking at the past, the kind of the donations that CEA has made, can you give us kind of an example of what some of those donations might have actually helped pay for? So just looking at the past couple seasons, we've had $3,000, a little over $1,000, almost $12,000 to Child's Play in each of these seasons. What might that money have actually gone towards?
Yeah. So the like looking at just this last year 2020 grant equipment grant stuff that we've looked at, that almost $12,000 would fund up to four VR kits. We are really close with a company called Kind VR. They make VR headsets that are really intentionally focused on the hospital. They're one of the ones who have the MRI simulation that lets a kid practice going through the MRI machine. If you've never had an MRI or seen one, it's this big tube. It gets really loud and there's banging noises and stuff like that. And it can be pretty scary. And generally, a kid needs to be sedated, right? Just they you can't move. If you move, the entire picture is messed up and you have to start all over, and it's really expensive. So generally, they sedate kids, and there's enough concern and worry that comes with sedation, especially with
Yep.
kids, that they try when they can to practice, but it's really expensive to have when the MRI machine is not taking pictures, it's not making money. It's not, you know,
Yep.
hospitals still have to generate income. And so to shut a machine down, to bring a little kid down and let him see it and poke around and lay inside and do all this is already expensive. And even when you have the time to do that, you can't turn the machine on. You can't play with it to hear the noises. Um, and so you can only get so far. But with the VR goggles, they've designed this walkthrough of an MRI. It's sort of a generic MRI room. It won't be exactly the same as every hospital, but you see the machine. You get to lay down inside the machine. You lay back, and then with the headphones on, you hear the banging. If you move, they get to correct you and just say, "Oh, hey, remember, we got to lay still. Let's try again." And practice and practice and practice. And they've seen success with kids as young as 5 to be able to go
Oh,
through and get an MRI. And that it's huge not needing the sedation, but it also, when you need to be sedated, you can't eat for 24 hours before or 8 hours before. It's scheduled generally for a kid first thing in the morning so that they, like, okay, I wake up, I've been asleep all night, I don't get to eat breakfast, I'm hungry, I'm here, but okay, it's taken care of. And then just the out of sedation, it's kind of just a 24-hour process, um, keeping an eye on a kid and things like that. And it also means that you can't rush anything. Where if you are able to practice, you can have this happen when sort of any time when the machine is available, and also it can happen during the day. You can have had lunch, you could have,
yeah,
breakfast, you could feel better just overall and come in and go through it. So um, that's huge. We've seen a lot of really good impact with those, and there's a couple other places that are starting to develop VR specific things like that for the hospital. Um, Another just example is in our grants this year. $3,000 got helped get Xbox adaptive controllers and the all the different buttons and switches and adaptive control accessories to outfit a hospital that needs them. So when you think of a kid who maybe got in a bad car accident and has 2 broken arms and can't hold a
yep,
controller anymore, but you can set up that adaptive controller to build it, or getting Nintendo Switches and games that can be used to sort of playing in the room and then carried with you on your way to surgery, and then when you get out of surgery handed right back to you. So yeah, just a handful of examples of stuff that were purchased this year, in our equipment grant program.
Yeah, when you brought up so for viewers watching who aren't aware, last season a number of companies, led mostly by Microsoft, donated $11,700 to Child's Play, which was amazing. It was a very large donation the CEA has made, one of the largest to any single organization. And I knew that it had gone to these VR kits, but what I didn't realize was that the VR kit is so much more than just a headset. I mean, it's software, it's the earphone. I mean, it's everything a kid needs to feel a little bit better in the situation they're in.
yep.
It's
Yeah,
amazing to know we can make that difference.
And I think it's awesome that the VR kit gives them that experience with the MRI or any other procedure that might be developed for it. But it also, I would assume, has maybe a little double use games as well, right? It's still a VR
yeah.
kit.
It's still, yeah, that's the games are still available in there. We've definitely seen, like with our game techs, get real close with the physical therapists, right? Who love being able to put a kid on, inside a Beat Saber, or
Oh yeah,
some other game that gets them moving.
It's good cardio,
Sometimes,
man.
yeah, and if that's what you need to do, like, you got to move your arms. It
Hmm.
hurts. Well, here's a song. Let's play this game. It's a lot easier than, like, sometimes you see some physical therapy at the hospital is like, here's the ball. I put it on the ground. You need to bend over and pick it up, and then I'm going to put it on the high
Fetch.
shelf, and you need to reach up and grab it. And, like, it's the movement. It's necessary, but it's not engaging. It's not what a kid wants to be doing. And when it hurts, like, I don't want to reach up. That hurts. But if
yep.
what I can be doing is like in playing job simulator, and instead of, like, just reaching for a ball off a shelf, I'm like reaching up to grab a can of spray paint so that I can turn on a car and, like, paint the car. Like, that's way more fun and exciting. I'd much rather do that than some other exercise, and way more engaging, and you get way more compliance from kids in that fashion.
You'd get
Right.
more compliance from me in that fashion. I
Yeah,
Oh,
think I'd
exactly.
be.
yeah.
I would so much rather do Beat Saber than picking up
Well,
balls.
my arm hurts. Will you put the VR set on me? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, ooh. And they've used it too. They've worked with the game techs to fashion ways to hold the controllers on your feet and your legs so that you can practice using your legs too, right? And so,
Yep.
think how often you're swinging your arms if you work on, in Beat Saber, if you got to work on your legs too, put that in there, and boy, that's going to get you, doing some real work.
Yeah, I'd be moving.
Yeah. Oh
That
yeah.
would be good. So not to bring down the mood at all, but very very familiar with Child's Play and its connection to PAX. My personal favorite gaming meetup convention that I try to attend as often as I can. Obviously, this year with COVID happening and all those things, has really changed plans for some people. How has the COVID epidemic affected your mission in Child's Play and the work you do with PAX?
So overall with COVID, we've seen generally the summer months are a bit slower time for Child's Play. Anyways, it's our opportunity to get out and go do our hospital visits. So kind of a big bummer for us this year, just not being able to go do those. Seeing them sort of initially sort of these are on pause, and really getting that final call of like, yeah, these are canceled. We're not having any visitors coming in. Just because it's really that opportunity for us to really connect one on one with our partner hospitals, and really get to know and understand what it is that they need and share all the knowledge that we've had. Um, so we've definitely missed that. We've been trying to do the best we can through emails and calls and all the other stuff that everybody's been doing during this time. But it's real fun to be able to get in and visit those hospitals, and have a chance to play games with the kids and all that kind of stuff. So that's been it. On the fundraising side, Child's Play's still done really well this year. A lot of people are home playing games anyways, and so I think
Yeah, you're welcome.
yeah, we've seen still some nice strong support. We were the Humble Bundle charity of the month, right as most of the stay at home stuff happened. So that was just kind of dumb luck timing on our part to have that be the March April overlap of the Humble Bundle charity of the month, because so many people were staying home going like, well, time to fill up that game library. What am I going to do? Let's go get
Yep.
all these bundles. Um, so a good impact there. So we've been good. PAX Online just happened, and we were wary. How's this going to go? PAX is, along with being just a strong fundraising place for us, is really a good opportunity for us to meet and introduce Child's Play to people who don't know about Child's Play,
Mhm.
and also just to connect with people who are supporters that come by and say, hey, I've been supporting you for a long time. Really love what you do. Love to meet you. Or myself, my brother, my son, my daughter, whomever was in the hospital and having games with such a huge impact. Thanks for doing that. We missed that side of it, but had overall over the course of PAX a really strong fundraising bunch of different events. We were able to raise over $60,000 over the course of the 9 days of the show, which is
Wow.
great. Um, and had lots of different community engagement that was going on. So we had not the ability to put ourselves out there in front of people, but definitely had some ads and some other info about Child's Play running in between all the panels and on those kind of streams. So did the best we could with getting out there and really trying to share what it is that Child's Play is doing, so that people get a chance to hear about us and choose us when they're trying to pick a charity to support.
That's great, and I'm sure this message will be heard by a lot of CEA teams who are looking at doing just that. And we hope it is. You guys are a great organization, and we promote you when we get the chance.
Yeah.
Just to say it, I'll put it out there now, childsplaycharity.org. If you ever have, if you want to know more about what we're doing, you can find my email on there on the about page. I'm always happy to chat back and forth with people, or hop on a call if you have questions too. If you're trying to pick a team, you need a charity to support. I'll make a good elevator pitch.
And Travis, just before we log off, if how do hospitals that are not yet affiliated with Child's Play get in touch with you, or start to interact with you?
So we have our application on our website. They can find that, and
At childsplaycharity.org.
childsplaycharity.org. On the About page, there's the hospital application there. They also can see our grant applications to see how to do equipment grants, or our capacity building grants, which is what we mostly have been focused on, those game tech positions. Um, but yeah, the opportunity to do that, we really are looking for. We're always looking to add. Eventually, at some point, we'll have all the hospitals, and then we won't have to add anymore. But until then, we'll keep going on. Um, And also on there, if they're looking, so the other one of the other things Child's Play does is support domestic violence shelters, and the application for being a partner shelter is on there as well. That is still our growing program. It's kind of in what was the initial phases of where Child's Play was. We're getting games and equipment to shelters. We know so often families and kids are kind of swept out in a rush and don't have the ability to bring everything with them, in particular game systems and stuff like that. And sometimes those can be used as kind of a guilt point to, like, I want to go back home, which is maybe not a safe
Yep.
situation. Um, and also just a comfort thing, just a way to feel a little bit more normal. So the shelters that we work with, we get games to them, fully loaded onto the systems that they're getting, so they don't have to worry about keeping track of discs or anything like that. But also games that have been selected to, one, be really sensitive to the content inside the game, knowing that, most people are coming from backgrounds that could be a little bit triggered with extra violence or things like that, but also games that are designed to be multiplayer, not necessarily strictly multiplayer, but really encouraging multiplayer, so that mom or a social worker can sit down and play that game side by side with the kid and use that as a big icebreaker, kind of, hey, we're playing this game. We see a lot with, kids in shelters and kids in hospitals, so often don't have a sense of power. Things are happening to them. You're being, taken
Hmm.
from home and brought over here.
Yep.
You're in the hospital and people are coming in to poke you with needles. And um, when they get the opportunity to play with the caretakers, so often the kids are the gaming experts, and they get to all of a sudden be in that position of power. I'm protecting you inside this game. You don't know how to do this, so I can get in the way and I can fight and beat the boss. I'm teaching you what to do, and have that sense of power, and then be able to then feel a little bit more onus over what's happening to them, and also feel more ready to open up and talk about what's going on.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yep.
that's it's phenomenal, all the work that the Child's Play does around the world, and we're so happy to hear about it. Juice, anything else?
Yeah, just one thing I wanted to add, and Travis, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but Child's Play is just a charity. Anybody can donate, right? It doesn't have to be through signing up on, to play CEA or anything like that. Um,
Uh, yeah, no, we would love all the teams to sign up and pick us, but yeah, you can go to childsplaycharity.org. Just in the upper corner, there's a donate button, and support us in that fashion. If when we get back to having events in person, definitely come find us. We're at all the PAX shows. We make it to TwitchCon. We make it to, we try and put out there anytime that we're at stuff. We were at MagFest and looking forward to MagFest this year, but not able to make it this time around. So yeah, when we're there, we love the opportunity to connect and, share what we're doing, share out our game guides. You actually can download a PDF of the game guide on the website, but a chance to share and talk about them and more with people. And since I know your audience is a lot of the tech people, if you are in that game dev section, um, we'd love people to start looking at the game guide just to think about adding some of these components inside their games a little bit more intentional. And always love to talk if developers kind of go, well, maybe we're on there, but how do we, like, what does this look like, or really how impactful is this? Definitely have stories to share and can connect with them in that fashion as well.
Yeah, I'd love to connect you with some game developers. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Juice.
no, I was just saying awesome.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful guys. Uh, and I think that's all I have at the moment. Juice, anything else?
No, that's basically all I had. I just wanted to bring that up in case I know you and I have talked about it in the past, but just any stream that I run or anything like that, I can put a little bubble down at the bottom that says,
Yeah,
"Hey,
little.
instead of donating to me, I'm fine financially. Give it to Child's Play," and that'll be a good place to put it instead.
Hmm.
I'll throw out, just because I got an email personally from Amazon the other day. If you're looking for something super easy to do and you're home buying everything from Amazon anyways, you can select Child's Play as your Amazon Smile support, and then just a little portion of the purchase gets sent over to us. It actually has a huge impact, and we are one of the big charities on that Amazon Smile side too. So it's super helpful.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
good to
that's
hear.
wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, thank you, Travis, very much. It was a pleasure having you today and getting to learn more about your organization. We loved having you on here, and you're welcome back anytime. Thank you much for all you do for kids in hospitals around the country.
Well, thanks for having us again, for helping just organize, putting this together and giving all these different companies the opportunity to, get some esports on, but also turn it into something where they know they're having a really strong impact. And to all those teams who are watching that are supporting Child's Play, thank you very much. Your support and you choosing us has had a huge impact on kids this year, and going forward definitely will have a huge impact.
Great.
Thanks for being here, Travis, and I guess have a nice evening.
Yeah, thanks so much,
Wonderful.
guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so just kind of to close out the CEA broadcast here. First of all, thank you for everybody that's actually watching the broadcast, that's tuning in, that's in the comments, in the after comments as well. Uh, you're really the reason we're doing this, so it's very nice to be appreciated and to have you there.
Yeah. And,
Good.
and on a lighter note, your week 2 matches are coming up if you're a CEA player. Get excited. It's week 2 and week 3 are when it starts to get competitive, and we're excited to see those results. So we're, fun times ahead for everyone.
And if you have any feedback on streams, if you want something more, you want something less, something seemed wrong, or the whole thing seemed perfect, whatever. Uh, we love feedback. Any feedback is good
The
feedback.
whole thing seemed perfect.
Hey, I
Once
hold
I
out
would like
hope.
that.
I hold
Once
out
I would
hope.
like that.
We take any and all feedback. Please direct it to us in whatever way possible. Discord is our favorite place, but we take it on every medium. Um, to that note, we have quite a few different social medias. We of course have our website ce.gg. We have Instagram, where Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where in all of them we are just corporate esport or corporate esports. Look for the CEA logo, you'll know it's us.
And if you're
Um,
watching on YouTube, we'll have those links in the bio in the description down below. Please click on them there because we're bad at remembering them live. So, you'll get it eventually.
yep. Is there anything you think I missed that you want to throw in here, Brad?
No. Everyone have a great day, a great evening, and we'll see you next time on CEA Live.